Assalamualaikum, Selamat sejahtera. My name is Muhammad Haris Iqbal bin Azlan. I'm from Group 3. I will present the topic 1, the number of new organ pledges in Malaysia. The next presenter, Ahmad Farha, will be present the description of data. And the next presenter, Iza Atira binti Abdullah, will be present the interesting finding and conclusion. Alright, the first one, I will present the introduction, motivation, objective, method of data collection and methodology. First one, introduction. In healthcare collection data about organ donation is crucial for saving life every year. Thousands of people worldwide await organ plan hoping for a second chance at life. Organ pledger, individual who express their willingness to donate organ after death, play a pivotal role in this process. By gathering information about organ pledges, healthcare professional can better understand donate patterns, address barrier, and ensure that organs are available for those in need. This introduction explore the significance of collecting data and organ pledges in healthcare, highlighting its role in improving transplantation outcome and saving life. For the motivation, collecting data about organ donation in healthcare is important because it helps save life by keeping track of information like who needs organ and who is willing to donate. We can make sure that more people get the organ they need to stay healthy. When we collect and study this data, we can learn this that help us to do the better job. For example, we can find out why some people don't donate organ and try to change that. We can also figure out way to make sure that make sure donate organ stay healthy until they can be used for transplant. By paying attention to this information, we can make sure that organ donation work as well as possible. That means more people can get help they need to live longer and while they are live. So collecting data about organ donation is not just about number, it's about helping people and making the world a better place. For the objective, for the first one, to investigate Malaysia potential for maintaining a stable number of new organ donation pressure over time. And the second one, collect and analyze data on the number of new organ pledges by year in Malaysia. For the method of data collection and methodology, we use the type of variable is quantitative data sources. We collect from secondary data from Ministry of Health Malaysia by MySejahtera, and we use Aniket tool level guarding a basic dashboard with bar chart for data summarize, integration, and visualization. For research scope, we're focusing on the number of new organ pledges in Malaysia, spanning the year 2012 until 2022. That's the sources link. And then for the population, we collect all citizens in Malaysia, and the sampling frame we use Malaysia National Organ Donation Registry. And for the sampling technique, we use random sampling. For the sampling process, we use obtain access to Malaysia National Organ Donation Registry. We use random number generator or lottery method to select a sample of organ pledger for each year. Ensure that the sample size represent of the population of organ pledger for each year. For the collection method, we use digital sources. That's all for me. I will pass to next presenter, Ahmad Farha.
So the next one is description of data. So for our data, we decide to use a bar chart to represent our data on the number of new organ pledgers in Malaysia. So the independent variable on this data is the year. Meanwhile, the dependent variable on this data is number of new organ pledger. For the calculation, the meanwhile we have is 27,388.7333. For the median, we have 28,399. For the mode, we have 0. For the range, we have 46,542. For the minimum value, we have 5,294. For the maximum value, we have 51,836. For the variance, we have 188,500,466.4. For the standard deviation, we have 137,295.4719. For the coefficient of variation, we have 5.0128%. For the skewness, we have negative 0.022. Next is the measurement of central tendency of data and also the dispersion of data. So since the data in ungrouped data, the calculation that we will be using the formula for ungrouped data. So this is the calculation for the mean, median, the mode, the range, the variance, and also the standard deviation. Last but not least is the coefficient of variation. From our finding, we find out that the amount shows us that there is a smaller amount of coefficient of variation, showing us that it less dispersed, hence that it is more consistent. Meanwhile, for the skewness new, our find the answer is negative, so it shows us that the graph is negatively skewed as the number is less than 0. In summary, the result of the analysis we performed generally support the expectation we had, showing a trend consistent with our hypothesis. This data demonstrate a complicated link, influenced by several variables such as the COVID-19 occurrence between the number of new organ pledges at the year. The specific mode calculation deviated due to the ungrouped dataset. Nonetheless, further metrics and the temporal analysis corroborate the expected trend, and temporal fluctuation is the new organ pledges rate. Next, we continue with interesting finding.
Now, I will present about interesting findings. According to the data, the number of new organ pledges has increased over time, peaking in 2015 and then declining in 2016. Between 2016 and 2020, there is a discernible decline, and in 2021, there is a small increase. Despite a notable increase in 2022, the numbers of new organ pledges show a large decline in 2023 and 2024. In comparison to the preceding few years, there seems to be a recovery in 2021 and 2022, as seen by the rise in the number of new organ pledges. This could imply the relaxation of restrictions that might have restricted the pledger the year before. Studying the dynamics of organ donation in Malaysia is made easier with the help of the data gathered by Masajatra, which offers an almost real-time overview of donor pledges. The overall count of new organ donors has notably declined in 2020. This decline could be attributed to external factors such as the global COVID-19 pandemic, potentially influencing individuals' willingness to pledge their organs. Lastly, I will talk about the conclusion. Analyzing the trends in new organ pledges in Malaysia underscores the necessity for ongoing surveillance and proactive measures to ensure a consistent and sustainable pool of organ donors. This serves as a valuable tool for policymakers in the public health sector, guiding strategic interventions to mitigate shortages or project deficiencies. Intensified efforts to promote organ donation are imperative, particularly in light of recent declines. Proactive strategies such as targeted awareness initiatives and community involvement are essential. Amidst the global pandemic, it underscored the resilience required to uphold a stable influx of new organ donors, thereby contributing to the robustness of the nation's healthcare infrastructure. And with this, We have finished our presentation, and thank you so much for listening to our group.